I am so long-winded, so I apologize, and this is going to be a multi-part series on what I've sold to Fashionphile, so stay tuned. Now, the reason why I brought this up is because, as my last video showed, I went to Tiny Fest. My goal is to go tiny over the next 3 to 4 years. Sorry, 2 to 3 years. I'm not going to push it 4 years. I want to be fully in the Sprinter van in 3 years. And I have so many things. Obviously my collection has changed since the last time I was on YouTube doing fashion and luxury goods. And I've sold a lot of things, but I've also bought a lot of things. And I realized I've talked about things I want or designs, but I've never really discussed what I have sold and why. So, although I have sold to private sellers, Keeks in Plano, Texas, the Rebag, the Real, I've sold to everybody. But my main place that I've sold items, which it shows here I've sold 106 items, is to Fashionphile. And over the years, they have been the best to me. I can get into story times at the Real, I can get into story times with the Rebag. Rebag was really good too, I just don't have a long-standing history with them. But the Real, I mean, sell my clothes, but don't, I ain't gonna give you a bag or something again. But, yeah, so I was gonna go, I have my laptop here, go through each and every item that I've sold and explain why, going from the oldest to the newest. I have 5 pages worth of things, so I'm going to do pages 5 and 4 together because 5 is not that big. And then I'll do all the other ones on different days and different videos, so it's not so long since we're already 2 minutes into the video. So I will go ahead and put a photo of the item here when it comes time and explaining why I bought it and why I sold it. So the first item is going to be the Louis Vuitton Monogram Eclipse Explorer, which will be right here. I remember this vividly. When the Monogram Eclipse colorway came out, I was obsessed. At that point in time, I was still very much still not comfortable wearing colors, wearing leathers, plus I could barely afford them, but I didn't want such a loud monogram anymore, and the black just took me out. And at this point in time, I was in school for business. I thought I was going to be that business girly, wear all the time, very preppy, but with a twist. And this one was that one. Funny enough, I was a bad gay. I bought it the day of a wedding I went to the wedding, wore the bag, which I'm like, this is a big bag. I would never wear a bag this large to a wedding ever again. There's no tiffs or beefs with it at all, but I'm just like, who the heck carries a bag that big? But yeah, I absolutely loved it, but I didn't use it enough, and it was a lot more floppy than I wanted it to be. And so when it just sat on the shelf forever, I was like, okay, now it is time for her to go. So sold her. I ended up getting, which I actually sold her in 2019, which was when I first started selling to Fashionphile. And it was part of a big collective I brought to Fashionphile and sold it, which is where I bought my first Kelly bag, which is on here. I don't know how to add the video, but I'll unbox the Kelly video here. But that being said, the next item, which was that same day, was going to be the Louis Vuitton Monogram Adele wallet. And this one had the orangish color in it. I'll show the photo here, which they had displayed. I bought this one in Las Vegas when I was on a trip to go see Celine Dion with my mother. And I loved the wallet, but I was kind of scared because the card slots, they became loose very quickly. And although, yes, it opened and the slots were inward, I was just terrified of one day opening it, sliding it out, it falls out, whatever. Now, I really did like this particular wallet when I was a server because a lot of my life was done in cash, but I paid for everything on card so I can get the points. And so I didn't always have the opportunity to deposit my money as often as I'd like. But so because it had those 2 zip compartments, I would literally put all the money I have on one side, and then every time I spent money on my card, I would move the money that I spent to the other side, knowing that that is no longer accessible for me to spend. It was really good for budgeting and making sure that I knew exactly where every single dollar went, and I always rounded up on what I spent. So like, let's say if I spent $29.32, I would put $30 to the side. $29, yeah, 29.30. Obviously, I know how to count. I'm just going crazy. But yeah, so I ended up selling that because I was getting a little bit more nervous about that, and I left the industry in serving, and so I didn't really need such a big wallet. I was really not. I'm also drinking right now. You can guess what this is. I'll be very impressed. But I no longer needed something that had such a large bill case. And so I think at that point in time, I ended up with a pocket organizer, which I used for years. And I have one or two still. I have some, we can go over what I have one day. But anyway, next is going to be these Louis Vuitton Caskin Demi Cobalt shoes. I bought these at South Coast Plaza with my client advisor at the time. Come here, babies, if you're gonna wanna be here. I bought those, and I thought they were so cute. At this point, I was print logo mania. Like, it didn't have to be monogram, but just some form of print that you clearly knew it was designer. And we can get into talking about that definitely at one point, because part of it was wanting acceptance, part of it was trying to combat racism, a whole bunch of reasons. But these shoes, cute, okay comfort. I definitely have some shoes that are way more comfortable from Louis Vuitton, but the problem with these ones is they would squeak so much. I felt like I was SpongeBob, and I was told I needed to break them in. I tried to break them in, didn't work. There was nothing they could do. They weren't going to return them or exchange them. They just said, oh, well, that's how they are. I'm like, I don't like that. So then I ended up selling them. So that was annoying. But anyway, next it's going to cover Louis' head, but it is the Louis Vuitton Pochette Métis in the empreinte leather. I was, I believe, one of, if not the first people in Southern Orange County to have this bag, because I pre-ordered it after the runway. And funny enough, the day that it came out, because I would shop at the Bloomingdale's at South Coast Plaza, the day that it released, and I drove all the way over there to go pick it up, Bloomingdale's power went out. They closed the shop. They did everything. So I'm texting Lene going, Lene is my client advisor at the time. She's absolutely amazing. She worked wonders throughout the years, as well as she was never pushy. She's not on the sales floor anymore. But if you do work in sale, or you do shop in high-end luxury, get someone who's not going to just say yes to everything. Get you a client advisor that will say, Michael, no, you won't actually use that. Based on what you do like, oh, dream come true. But anyway, the day that they opened, or launched this particular bag, Bloomingdale's was closed. I'm already out here. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm like, girl, what's happening? She eventually ended up, she said, give me a little bit of time. She got into talks with the standalone store, and from there, they gave me one of the bags that was pre-ordered by somebody else, and then they would just exchange it on the back end, so that everyone still has the right stock, everyone's still getting the bag, and the person who pre-ordered the other one, she wasn't coming in for I don't know how long. So I bought that, and I bought the Métier Noir large bottle, because it just works with my hormones to smell really good, which they were shocked, because at the time people did not like Métier Noir as a fragrance. But yeah, I use that for college all the time. I ended up literally carrying just the Pochette Métis, and that was it for school, because I had my little iPad mini, my little Apple Pencil, which I still very much use, iPads and pencils. But yeah, I did my little thing. I found that I don't really use it anymore, so I ended up selling it after college. Next was the monogram Macassar District in the size PM. This was, I want to say, the third bag I ever purchased, still at the South Coast Plaza Bloomingdale's location. And it was cute. I have no beef with it. It was definitely more in my mask era. Just saying it like that, I'm not a mask girly. So I changed it up. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. And so that's really the story behind that. It was very much basic straight man, or like early into fashion gay, that it wasn't for me. Also, me talking about my fashion era, and I'm literally wearing a wrinkled t-shirt that I just rolled out which is going to be my aesthetic, unfortunately. I'm going to figure it out when I go tiny. But anyway, next I do have a silk monogram bandeau. It was a tribute one to Alma's, which is funny enough because I wasn't using it for the Alma's sake, but it was the rouge on the opposing side that I use to wrap my pochette Matisse's handle to bring a little bit more independent style, because at that point I started to feel a little bit basic with the pochette Matisse, which is fine. I believe functionality and popularity go hand in hand more often than not. And of course, Louis wants to play with his toys right now. Louis, come here. We're making a video. We can't do that. Come here, silly boy. But so I wanted to have a little difference, which I still do. Like, all of my classic items, if I have them, they're either not well loved by the majority or there's a slight variance, which is definitely me being basic. And I'm like, I'm not like the other girls, but like, it is a little different. Okay, we have a lot more to go through. I won't give as much detail on a lot of these, but I definitely will talk a little bit about them. We have the Louis Vuitton Demier Cobalt Greenwich, or Greenwich, or I think it's Greenwich. I like this bag. I love the blue hue to it. I bought this at the Louis Vuitton's Christmas party. I want to say in 2016. Whatever year it launched is the year I bought it. Funny enough, I was at that event, and it turns out that the president of the school that I wanted to go to was there, and literally she was the one who picked the bag. And I'm like, this is the president of the college that I want to go to, so I'm gonna buy it because she said it. I didn't really use it much. I used it for school, and that was it. It doesn't have top handles. I found I'm a top handle girly through and through, even in my more masculine era. But it got compliments. Also, I was that beach in college with the designer bags. Was I wealthy? No, girl. I was a server full time, living on my own, just trying to get by, living off of top ramen, because one, I'm a picky eater. Two, I can't afford it when I was buying all these bags and stuff. But yeah. Anyway, I had this Louis Vuitton Demier Graphite pochette. I don't recall when I bought it. I probably bought it that same night. I did buy it that same night. I bought like multiple things that night. But yeah, I used that as a clutch for a quick moment. Then I realized I don't go to events like that. Also, this clutch is respectfully lower end, and I didn't want to be at high end things with a low end bag. Trust me, I'm working, deconstructing, all that jazz. Next is this Tiffany titanium ring here I bought in San Francisco with my ex, almost fiance. We were talking marriage real quick and then ended it real quick. It was a short-lived fantasy is what I will say. But yeah, I bought that. I didn't really wear it often, so it was time for it to go. Next, sorry, I'm trying to go quickly. Next, I bought the Celine Supple Calfskin Medium Phantom bag in black, and I absolutely loved this bag. I still love this bag. She is a heavy girl, which relatable. Louis, stay over here. He's over here trying to squeak and play, and I will give him playtime, I promise. But heavy girly. I ended up deciding to sell it so that I could buy a Birkin. And so I sold it to buy the Birkin. Or no, I sold it to buy the Kelly bag, I think. Somewhere along those lines. Oh wait, it's the 13th, 21st. No, I sold it to buy a Birkin. Which I have that video up here somewhere as well. Or it's on my page. But yeah, absolutely loved it. I still want to get another one back in my collection. But I also don't want to have a large tote collection. I already have a lot of totes, and I don't want to overfill my future tiny van. But that being said, next is the Burberry Smoke Check backpack in black. It was brown. I don't know why it says black, but it's from what Fashionphile wrote. It's black and brown. I bought this for my birthday in like 2016, 2015 era. Bought it for myself. I was obsessed with it. I was in college, so I wanted a backpack. I also didn't have a car. Girl, my priorities all over the place. So I biked everywhere, and I wanted to have something that I could bike that would be rain protectant. Actually, I might have had a car. I might have had my first car. I don't remember. Somewhere around then. But either way, I wanted something rain protectant. I feel like I had my little Elantra at the time. But yeah, something rain protectant, which thinking back now that I'm going back into biking, this would be a really good backpack. So don't think I'm going to be adding it back in, but if it's cheap, Well, I might sell a Dior backpack to get this because this is better for all weathers. Next, I have the Louis Vuitton rubber embossed monogram rain boots. Never wore them once. Never. Girl, I got flippers for feet. It does not work that way for me. Unfortunately, I even had them professionally stretched. She's thick. Sometimes the girls and squirrels do not come together. And it was unfortunate because I did purchase the largest size that they had accessible. And unfortunately, they didn't want my big ass foot. Anyway, next I have the Louis Vuitton Demi Graphite Tadao PM. Which I have a whole story time in regard to this particular bag because this bag is the reason why I stopped shopping at the standalone store and why I started shopping at the Bloomingdale store because I had horrible experience with them at that point in time. Mind you, I already had my Speedy 35 and I was starting my shopping journey. If I stuck to that location, I would never be where I am now when it comes to spending, which I don't know, I've never mentioned it here, but on Instagram, I used to spend about $80,000 or so a year on shopping alone. Definitely have been working to reduce that, and my goal this year is to have it down to $10,000 to $20,000 because I do want to be reasonable. And I've only bought one pair of shoes this year, so we're doing good. But yeah, I sold this. It was my first dream bag. Didn't end up getting it initially because I wanted to buy something a little bit more affordable, which a Speedy was. Literally the next month I went and bought this bag because I couldn't stop thinking and dreaming about it. It was so business. It was so professional. It was that nod to the heteronormative, but with a slight that I needed. But I'm at a point, and I was at a point in 2019 where I said, F the standards of what I can and cannot wear as a man. And it turns out I'm non-binary, so that literally tracks. Speaking of non-binary, these... in the most don't hate me Hillary Duff kind of way, are the gayest sunglasses I've ever bought. It's just the metal LV Drive here. I remember Lene telling me, she's like, those aren't really you. Are you sure you really want those? I went, saw them, liked them. She told me, sit on it and think about it. Like, leave and come back if you're still thinking about it. I left, came back, still liked them. Wore them for a little bit. That is... It was a time. It was a time. Unlike these young girls and squirrels who are like 15, 16, 13, looking cute from the jump. Man, those sunglasses remind me, designer doesn't create fashion. And style isn't just brands. Because that, on me and my aesthetic, was not the vibe. I'm going to put these all three in one. I have, actually there's probably four, yeah. Monogram key pouch, Demi Bean key pouch, Demi Graphite key pouch, Monogram Eclipse card holder. What was I doing? Like, I have so many key pouches. Now, mind you, I still have the Monogram Eclipse key pouch, and I still have the mini Lynn green key pouch, and I still have a multicolored key pouch from the OG collection. I haven't bought anything cannabis in quite some time, so I haven't done any of the multicolor from this year. But I had so many of these. I collected them all, and I'm like, I don't know why. And this is back when they were like $180. Like, now I think they're like $300. I'm like, oh my god, inflation. But yeah, I just never used them. Like, I wouldn't really switch them often. I use them as bag charms. Okay. But yeah, so there's that. I have this Louis Demi Graphite, keep something, the name isn't fully there, bracelet, which I think I bought the same night of that party, which I think I bought that Monogram Eclipse card key holder thing in that same night of that party, where I met the president of the school I wanted to go to. It was cute. It started, like, I didn't like the functionality of it, and it didn't fit what I wanted to do. So, I ended up selling her as well. I have this MCM wristlet here, which workhorse, might I say. This particular piece I would wear to the club all the time, whether it was Tiger Heat, if you know, you know. And I eventually, when I was older, I would go to the Abbey in West Hollywood. I remember my 23rd birthday carrying, ooh, girl, not me hitting the quad. 23 and just vibing with this MCM. You couldn't tell me nothing. And I was already shopping Louis Vuitton at the time, but something about the feeling of the water resilience, the suppleness of the canvas, the sturdiness of the hardware. MCM really is that girly, but we don't like to admit it because she's at a higher or lower price point, as well as it's a monogram piece. Now, if they did leathers like this or plain canvases, I might actually go back to them. I have no beef with them and their clothing. It can be cute a lot of the times. I'm not in the loud era phase. So, that's that. Ooh, that's strong. But, yeah. Next, we have... Oh, God. Why did I bought so many wallets? Okay. I'm going to do... Louis Vuitton Epi small ring agenda. Bought that thing out. I was going to journal. I was going to keep my separate arm. She's tiny. I got plump fingers. It didn't work out. Long story short. Bought it. Used it for a little bit. Tried my best. Had my little Tiffany's pen, which I don't even know if I sold to them or somebody else. Or I still have it. I don't freaking know. But either way, it was not a vibe. I could not use it comfortably. I now have 2 of the desk agendas, which actually, they're right here. I have them right here. Oh, so I have the monogram one, which I do have my initials on that one. And then I have just a traditional journal. And then I have this one as well in the tiger leather, which this one I haven't wrote enough in. But I've done a pretty good much. I used to use these a lot. I don't use them as much anymore because I do have the iPad and I've gone more electronic and I guess modernly eco-friendly. I know lithium-ion batteries are not, whatever. Oh, try my best. But after long term, I feel like that is the better buy. Anyway, next I have my LV Initials Key Charm, which I bought when I bought the Tadao because this was the era which we're kind of getting back to, if not already back to, which is bag charm central. Everyone had a charm on their bags, and so this was the one I had. She was clunky, she was big, she was loud, and at the point in time, I liked being that girly. I needed the attention from people in a way that wasn't in a negative, which was bougie, which unfortunately later I found out that people were intimidated or thought I was stuck up because I had a designer, and until they met me, they knew that I wasn't that girly. I just happened to like nice things. So there's that. Okay, we're going to go through 4 wallets, and I'm only going to talk about one mainly, but we have the Burberry grained Kafka floor print wallet, we have the Burberry smoked check bifold wallet, we have the pocket organizer and Demier Cobalt, which I also bought that night, and then we have the first designer high-end thing that I ever bought, which is the Demier Graphite Baraza wallet. I bought this with Tasha at the South Coast Plaza flagship store. One of the most absolute amazing experiences of my life, and was what drew me in. I remember exactly what I was wearing. I was wearing some basic Levi jeans, straight cut, ugly color, some tan rainbows that were very worn in, and I was wearing a Fossil long wallet in my back pocket. No, I had a Fossil bag, and then I had a red basic t-shirt. Like literally, when I say basic, there's this place off of Euclid in Orange County that literally does the stock base shirts that you would buy to do your screen prints on. Back then I was in theater, and we did a lot of acting without any costumes or what have you, and so I literally had so many different colors of shirts. I was just wearing the red one that day. Best experience. I bought from her, had a great time, had it hot stamped. I went back to go buy, I bought the Speedy from, she wasn't there, and I didn't have loyalty at that point in time because I didn't know about client advisor loyalties at the time, but bought the Speedies from some random guy who I doubt even stayed. He was new to the company, and then I went to go back to see, I wanted to see her again. She wasn't there again, and then I met with, I can give the whole story, but long story short, the people that I did interact with, horrible. I avoided Bloomingdale's, fell in love there, grew there, and it wasn't until years later that I saw Tasha again, reintroduced myself, absolutely adored her. Unfortunately, I had already created my loyalty to Lene and everyone else I had shopped with, so fortunately that window was gone, but she was nothing but kind. I did end up buying a bag from her at some point as well, which I still have, which is the Montsuri backpack, the second edition one, not the first one because I don't like that one, and the ones afterwards I didn't like either. This one literally was perfection, and it's always going to be in my collection. But yeah, that was my original designer purchase, and I loved it, but it didn't make sense for functionality purposes, so she had to go. Next we have this. Funny enough, I was actually looking for this not too long ago. Louis Vuitton cashmere wool ombre blue socks. I swear it's not that strong. Scarf. Loved it. Absolutely. Blue is my favorite color. And I love the ombre effect. I love it all. I lived in California. What the flip am I doing with a freaking wool scarf? Didn't make sense. When I moved to Texas is when I was like, oh, winters, I could have definitely used this, but c'est la vie. Next is this Burberry Green Caskin House Check messenger bag. Bought it, used it a lot. It was great for school. I don't remember, I just stopped using it after college or when I wasn't in school. Once I got the iPad, I didn't have a big use for larger bags like that. Not to mention, I did have my Birkin at that point in time. So then I was like, why would I carry Burberry when I have a Birkin? Like, Hermes all the way. He got it again. He got a little Luby toy. Go play with that. Not this one. But anyway, the next one is unfortunate. We have two more that are on this, and then this will be the done ending point for this particular video, and they are big purchases. It definitely does show that like my style has changed, and obviously I mind you, I still would keep this in my bag if I had it today. I mean, obviously it's a freaking Birkin. I did sell my first Birkin, my Birkin 35 in Clemence leather. It was silver hardware, so it wasn't like my dream come true handbag. But the reason I sold it was because of the leather choice. And I just moved to Dallas at that point. I just purchased my home. At that point, I knew nothing about real estate. And when it came to purchasing, I had no idea that closing costs were more than like $500. Girl, tens of thousands of dollars. I was shook. That was my furniture budget. That was my kitchen remodel budget. That was so many things I just didn't have money for at the point in time. And so between me needing money as well as I was terrified. I was working for, funny enough, I was working for Louis Vuitton in their client service office in Irving, Texas. It would rain in the summer. In the summer it would rain. And so I ended up, me over here checking to make sure he's good because he was coughing. He's fine. I ended up selling it because I was like, if it rains randomly in the summer and Clemence leather blisters when it gets wet, I do not want to risk it. There was literally the final straw, pouring torrential downpour of rain in the summer. I didn't have the raincoat with me. I didn't think I needed it, and there was just extra space in the bag, and she was already heavy. I'm leaving the office. I go to the front door, see it raining. I'm like, oh, hell no. So I go back in, scan my little key card, get on in, and I'm looking at trash cans. I'm like, someone give me some trash bags. And I remember somebody on the French team was literally looking at me going, what are you doing? Like, why are you using trash bags on your bag? I'm like, it's a very, like, I wanted to be moderately humble because I do understand that I lived a certain lifestyle that wasn't common for somebody in my particular position. So I didn't want to be like, oh, it's a freaking Birkin. Like, this bag is $12,000. Like, I was just like, oh, no, I just don't want to get my bag wet. Like, it doesn't do well in the rain. Da, da, da. And someone else literally was like, it's a Birkin. Let him do his thing. And I was like, oh, blessed. Somebody gets me. So I was like, it's time. If I can't wear this to work on any day and be like, I have to check the weather to see if I can wear that back. Like, to that extent, I was not ready for it. And the fact that I needed money. Louis, are you okay? Are you just attention seeking? I love you. Have a kiss. Thank you. Okay. But anyway, so that's why I ended up selling that particular handbag. And then the last thing on this particular page is going to be the Cartier yellow 18 karat small Justin Clou. I absolutely loved this piece, but I thought I would get skinny. I thought I was going to get snatchity snatch. So I bought it smaller than I actually could fit. Like, it could go around my wrist, but it was very tight. Baby, 1, Texas didn't do that to me. 2, California hasn't done it to me yet. I'm no longer buying for Skinnier Michael, because Skinnier Michael, she might show up to the party, but she might be that auntie that texts you 3 hours in going, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I forgot, was that today? Because she ain't coming. And you know, that's okay. That is okay. I've accepted it. I love who I am and the body that I have. Would I like a little bit more streamlined? Yes. Would I like for brands to include someone of my stature, let alone larger statures? Because fashion is not of a size caliber, let alone a gender caliber. I do. But we're not that girl right now when it comes to wearing things like that. So off she went, and she saw, and she gave me money, which I don't remember what I spent the money on, but I did cash, so I didn't buy anything. Because it does show me if it says $0, it means it became a credit, and then if it was cash, it just shows me how much they gave me. So there's that. That is the first part of this series. This is literally 30 minutes long, which is why I need to break it up. The next one will be shorter. I'm literally going to film it right after this one. But yeah, that's the first part. What are your thoughts? Let me know if you really loved some of these items. Hell, if you somehow found my items way back when and purchased them, are they living a nice home? Is there anything in this that you agree with, that it doesn't fit the vibe, or just whatever? Sound off in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts, and love to hear your experiences with Fashionphile, because as of recent, which is why I started going to other places, no tea, no shade to Fashionphile, I really love y'all, but the quotes were low last time I tried, and so I was like, I don't like that. And now, back in the day, I would just sell Fashionphile, not question, not do a damn thing about it. Now I have to go to Rebag, I have to go to Real and Fashionphile before I give the final determination as to who I sell to, because their prices are so freaking different. But yeah, that's that. I will talk to y'all in the next video. But like, comment, subscribe, I guess. You know, do the thing. I forgot where the camera is. It's over here. I've been looking over here this whole time. Okay, bye.